Disclaimer. The takes on this podcast may not be backed by facts or statistics. In fact, most of the takes on this podcast are backed by feelings, not facts. Unfortunately, podcast equipment is free to purchase by the public. Please enjoy this podcast at your own discretion.
All right, I don't know why you're back here, but Devin and Zane today are going to go through the teams with the most playoff wins in the last 14 years. In other words, since 2010. There's a couple surprises, and there's a couple that are not surprising at all. The Patriots, the Chiefs. All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like Dom singing. Blasting like bombs ringing.
Welcome back. I'm Devin, that's Zane, and this is Buffet Sports. My buddy, did I tell you about this? My buddy here invited me to this party he's having tonight.
No, what is it? What is it about?
It's like a spring shindig. I don't know. And that's who called me. And he was like, my bad, you're probably sleeping. I was like, no, you're good. You know what? Since you're doing that for the content, I'm going to FaceTime him.
Oh, it worked.
So we're doing this. This is kind of it's off season. So we don't have a lot to talk about. So we're sticking to what's fun. And what's fun right now is kind of reviewing some of mine and Zane's favorite posts from social media. So to start off with today, we're talking about teams with the most playoff wins since 2010. There's some surprising teams on here, kind of, I think, that in our minds we maybe look at or think about when their names are said, and we think of more playoff wins than they really have. And there's a couple teams on here that I think have more playoff wins than we really think about since 2010. Also, I can't believe that 2010 was more than a decade ago at this point. That's
I know,
kind of
it's
crazy. So we're in for a little bit of a wild ride. I think this should be kind of interesting of the teams that we teams with the most playoff wins. So we'll jump right into it. Up on the screen to begin with, we have, starting from, what is that? Is that the left? I think that's my left. That's my left. So it's probably your right.
Everything's
Okay, so
reversed
right.
for me.
So right. So starting off from the right, we have KC with 16 playoff wins and 3 Super Bowls. The Patriots are tied with them at 16 playoff wins and 3 Super Bowls. That number will probably grow for the Chiefs. The Patriots, unfortunately, will be behind by
Nothing looking
years.
great over. Nothing looking great over in New England.
Next one here is the 49ers with 13 playoff wins since 2010. This one kind of surprised me. And I had to take it when I was looking at all these, I had to take a step back because I'm used to basketball where it's a 7-game series.
Yeah.
So everything is like you have to win 4 games to advance the next round. So like 13 playoff wins is like 3.5 series or 3 series and a gentleman's sweep, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but then I had to put it into perspective that like you play what is it? If you're not a 1 seed, it's 3 games in your conference to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So at most in a playoff, you can have 4 playoff wins.
Yes, I want to say.
Yeah. So that's kind of crazy for both like Chiefs, Patriots. Patriots is understandable, but like Chiefs, Niners, that's kind of crazy. 16 and 13.
Yeah, well, I mean, Colin Kaepernick played some good ball down in the Bay.
I forget that was within the decade.
There was an entire Colin Kaepernick era where it was like, this is the guy who's going to win them a Super Bowl. And it sadly just didn't happen because we can see right here a little guy that took a Super Bowl from the San Francisco 49ers. And then also Alex Smith played great ball. He was a playoff guy. You know, that's why he was around.
I forget that he played for the Niners for a little while.
No, Alex Smith. I'm talking about Kansas City with Alex Smith.
Oh, wait, didn't Alex Smith play for the Niners? Am I imagining?
I don't have enough knowledge on Alex
No,
Smith
you're
to tell
right.
you that
It's
you're
not.
wrong.
No, it's not.
But I'm
It was
saying
Dick
I'm
Tracy.
saying for Kansas City, Kansas City has always been one of those teams that has been like up
Yeah,
into the right, up and to the
yeah,
right, kind of
yeah.
throughout this whole ordeal.
Yeah, that's true. But still, it's just kind of crazy to me when you think about that's quite a few that like
I think
in 14
13
years,
playoff wins and no Super Bowls that's kind of shambles.
that is shambles. But still though, 13 playoff wins in 14 years.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. Oh, I thought this
Yeah,
was 10 years. Oh no, it's 14.
since
It's yes,
2010.
since 2010, so 14 years. So
Yeah,
there's 1 year technically, if we're just looking at it, there's 1 year they didn't make the playoffs.
right.
I mean, there's probably multiple because I mean this
Right.
year
They
they
probably
went
have
all the
more.
way to the
Right.
Super Bowl. You know,
Right. Right. So I just thought that's so those two to me, just like right off bat, were kind of crazy. Next, we have Green Bay with 12 playoff wins and a Super Bowl. Then it jumps down to the Seahawks with, oh my God,
wow, what's going on over there?
wine. Um, then we have the Seahawks with 10 playoff wins and a Super Bowl. Should I answer this for the content?
Who is it?
Aaron.
Sure. Oh, Aaron. Just make
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, just we can cut it out if it's terrible.
What's that?
You have to put it. You have to put the phone to the mic. We can't hear him.
What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, Devin?
What's up, Lachlan? What's up, brother?
I really hope your take on Jaden Daniels isn't true. I really hope the Commanders put more muscle on him and he's actually able to like not run into the O line. But like, I get what you're coming from, even though I don't want to hear it as a Commanders fan. But like, I hope he fixes his shit because he is the next RG3 if he doesn't get injured.
We're filming right now, so tell Lachlan. Get Lachlan.
He's 6'5" and 180. I'm 180.
Get Lachlan.
That's fucking hilarious.
Get Lachlan.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
We're filming right now so that we got all that on tape. You're gonna be in the show this week.
Really?
Yeah. My brother.
Ah.
That was hilarious.
Lachlan, I'm sorry, brother. It's not Washington is not looking that great over there. I know
Okay,
they got they got their star QB, but I mean that O line's still terrible, Lachlan. I'm sorry. You're gonna be crossing your fingers every game there, Lachlan. Unless
Okay.
Jaden Daniels comes into the league like he pulls Lamar Jackson, he's 230. You know, he gains 20 pounds. Doesn't even need to be muscle. Just 230, all in the legs. Then I think you're good.
That was great. I'm glad I answered that.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was hilarious. So let's fast forward here a little bit because the next couple are pretty self-explanatory. So we've got Baltimore 9 wins and a Super Bowl, Rams 7 wins and a Super Bowl, Broncos 6 wins and a Super Bowl. That's the Peyton Manning era. The next slide is the most interesting to me.
I gotta find
It should be, yep, that one. So this slide is the most interesting to me for 2 reasons. I expected the Eagles to have way more than 6 playoff wins
Yeah.
in the last 14 years. That
Well,
one to me, I saw that and I was like, bro, what? I feel like the Eagles have been good for a while.
Actually, you are kind of correct because they had what was his name?
Carson Wentz.
Carson
And then-
Wentz, yeah.
and Nick
Carson
Foles.
Wentz was supposed to be a dog, and then Carson Wentz took them and won a Super Bowl, and then they had Jalen Hurts. They have been pretty
crazy
damn
part
good
was
for a little bit.
All that though, but here's the crazy part. That all happened in the last like 8 years. There's still 6 unaccounted years where they probably were bad. That's the crazy
Yeah.
part that we forget about. That was just like 6 years ago that they won that Super Bowl.
Who was
if
their
not
quarterback?
earlier than that.
Who was their quarterback? Flipping Mark Sanchez. No, Mark Sanchez was the Jets.
No. Are you talking about in between like Carson? Like before Carson?
Before Carson. Who was their
I have no idea. Like Donovan McNabb was 2000s, but there's probably a bunch of like randos in between, I'd imagine.
Quick little editor's note here. I don't know how you can see me, how that looks, but we're just going to go with it. The quarterbacks that we're missing that we somehow forgot about, starting from 2010, Kevin Kolb and Michael Vick. Then Michael Vick, Vince Young, Michael Vick, Nick Foles, Michael Vick, Nick Foles, Mark Sanchez, Sam Bradford, Mark Sanchez, Carson Wentz, Nick Foles, and then Carson Wentz, Nick Foles. So one of those two Carson Wentz, Nick Foles years is the Super Bowl year. I don't know how we forgot about Michael Vick. I don't need to explain who that is. We're just idiots. So that's who we're missing. That's the randos that I talk about. We're idiots.
Huh. And then we go, hey,
And
let's.
then we go Buccaneers, which is a surprise. But when you think about it, you have a playoff, you have a Super Bowl run from Tom
Yep.
Brady, and
So
then you
that's
have
like 3 or 4.
that's 4 because they
4.
weren't a 1 seed. So that was 4, and then they have at least another playoff win in the next year, and then they probably have one random one from.
Well, Baker Mayfield made the playoffs this year.
There you go, and they won a playoff game.
Did they win?
No.
No.
Yes, they did. They did.
He
They
did?
did. They did win.
Yeah.
So there you go. There it
we
is.
go.
So
Baker,
one from
baby.
Tom, Super Bowl run, and then Baker. So surprise there. That one was surprising.
You know
The
what's a
next
real
one,
surprise? Yeah. The real surprise is Houston. A win.
5
this-
playoff wins in the last 14 years outside.
Because
Like
I
if
thought
you
Deshaun was only there for 2 years, like 2-3 years, like
no
playing because
longer.
he was
That's
hurt.
the crazy part.
He was hurt, and then
Hurt.
obvious. Maybe not hurt. Maybe not hurt, but he was not playing for a while on Houston, and I thought that was like the only time they were good. I cannot think. I know DeAndre Hopkins, obviously, but besides that, I
Yeah.
can't think of like
JJ
who
Watt.
he was. I know the JJ Watt era, but I want to say that I don't. But like even with JJ Watt there, like JJ Watt was playing tight end in goal line packages. Like, you know, Ash, you have to be to have your DN play tight end sometimes
He was
for
good.
fun.
Yeah.
That
know,
is
that
a
one-
huge surprise,
that one was
especially
crazy.
when you're looking at the rest of these boys right here, and they're
Yeah.
tied with Houston, the Bengals,
know.
and the flipping Bills.
I know. Yeah, that's the next one. The Bengals feel right at where they should be. That one feels right because they only had 1 year where they went to the Super Bowl, and then they've probably got a couple. They've got one probably playoff
Couple
win
with
from
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one feels right where it is. Bills feel right where they should
I want
be.
to say Bills
Saints
is
feel-
all Josh Allen. I want to say there's no.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
only when Josh Allen got there that they got their 5
because
playoff wins.
Tyrod Taylor probably doesn't have a playoff win. They probably made
Yeah.
the playoffs, but probably no playoff wins. Saints feel right where they should be. Giants feel right where they should be. Steelers feel right where they should be. And then if you jump to the next slide, these guys, most of the next ones feel, this one feels pretty normal here.
Now I want to
too.
say this doesn't really feel that normal.
Really? I feel like all these are right where they should be. The Cowboys are the only one that it's like they make the playoffs every year and then just lose, but that makes sense. We know that.
Yeah, but that's what,
predetermined.
that was the only one that I was gonna say. I was gonna say like Cowboys Nation, brother. You're flipping tied with the Titans, and the Titans are my team. Don't get me wrong, but you're tied with the Titans and the Panthers.
Well, the
that's
Panthers was
crazy.
the Panthers was the Super Bowl run.
Mm.
That was the Super Bowl run. That was all 1 year for the Panthers. The Falcons was probably one playoff win and then the Super
Matt
Bowl
Ryan.
run with Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Yep, the playoff run with Matt Ryan. And then
Peyton
Titans
Manning was
were probably no,
Manning
not
was
for
the
the
Colts?
Colts.
Not
Not
for
for
the
the Colts, no. That was Andrew Luck.
The Titans was definitely Marcus Mariota. When
We don't
thought
talk
he was
enough
gonna
about
go.
Andrew Luck, bro.
Yeah, we don't. It's because he retired. He retired so goddamn early. That's why we don't talk
I
about it.
know. And then Titans are all just like single playoff wins with Ryan Tannehill. Dallas, we just talked about them.
No, Marcus Mariota. Remember the pass off the defender's head and he caught it for a touchdown?
yeah.
That was in the playoffs.
Yeah. So there's one there. Jags, that's a little bit surprising, but 3 wins isn't that crazy. Lions, that makes sense. They've been poverty. Chargers, poverty. That makes sense. Last one here is surprising because I thought the Vikings were way better
Mhm.
and I thought the Browns were way better.
Yeah, 100%. And I thought the Cardinals had some success in the playoffs. But I'm
Right?
just
Like I
thinking,
thought for some reason I thought the Vikings were way better, and for some reason I know that the Browns have been really bad, but it's felt like the last 2 years the Browns have been like
no,
relatively.
Browns make sense. You have to remember
That's true. The Baker
how
years.
long,
Yeah, yeah. No,
not
never
even the
mind.
Baker years
Never
before
mind.
that. They were going
Sorry,
like
no,
0
not the
and
Browns. Not
17.
the Browns. Not the Browns. The Dolphins. So as you can see,
Oh
Washington,
yeah.
it says last playoff win, 2005 wild card. Last playoff win for the Raiders was 2002 AFC Championship. You can't see it, but I'll
Dolphins.
read it. For the Dolphins, it says last playoff win, 2000 wild card.
Yeah. And the
That's
Dolphins was a
crazy.
huge surprise. But I think it's just
That's
because
crazy.
the powerhouse that is in Miami right now. Because I mean, think back to the past 10 years. Can you
But is it
name
a
and
powerhouse? They still haven't won a playoff game,
I
dude.
know,
This is what
but
I'm talking about with Tua, bro. This is what
what
I'm
I'm saying,
talking about.
okay. What I'm saying is if you think past last 14 years, name one guy who was a starter for the flipping Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like
Yeah.
I don't think
Ryan
it's as
Fitzmagic.
and then Ndamukong Suh, right?
Yep.
Ndamukong Suh was one, but that's it. It
Yeah.
and I feel like the only
That's
reason why
fair.
we think that it's
But bro, how many years have they had Tua?
I don't know, but isn't this their first year with Tyreek or no?
Year
Second
two.
year
I think this
two,
is year
yeah.
two. I
So
think
I mean,
this
it's
is year
their
two.
and this was like the first year those running backs really showed promise too.
I that one to me just felt wild.
I
Um,
think it's because how great they looked this year is why it
also,
seems.
so some closing thoughts with the last segment. It's just surprising. The Bears one is surprising that they have any playoff wins in the last 14 years.
They have one.
And it's that's what I'm saying. It's surprising that they have any wins in the playoffs in the last 14 years, and it's surprising the Dolphins don't have any. Don't have any.
Yeah,
So
what was
that
their
means
win? Was it Justin
who?
Fields? Bears. Or it was a Jay Cutler. Probably a Jay Cutler.
Probably Jay Cutler.
Probably a Jay Cutler. That's why Chicago loved him so much. One playoff win. Hey, they're gonna love Caleb Williams. I mean, bar set super low. 2 playoff wins, you're a fucking god.